Okay, today is February 26th. We're going to do today's and yesterday's reading. What would it be? Numbers 33 through 36. Now, I'm kind of slacking off on this because it's really boring. 33 is just talking about where they camped, basically their itinerary, and same with where they traveled. Okay, and pretty much same with chapter 34, and it also talks about like the tribes, and how everything's apportioned to that. Chapter 35, I'll be honest with you, I don't really remember all this. I read this morning. Okay, so let's see. City of the South. Okay, this is talking about, in chapter 35, verse 6, they're talking about the city of refuge if a person accidentally kills another person. Let's say they were working. Let's say they were, gathering the sheaves of wheat, and like their axe, their awl or whatever, sickle accidentally hits another person while they were, and kills her. It would be him, because murder of a woman, well, women are worth nothing anyway, so it would have to be a man. While he's, gathering his sickle, hits another person. The person who killed the other person could run to the city of refuge and be safe. And I think it says you stay there until the death of the ruler of the city. Some strange noise. The city where the crime took place dies. When that person dies, you can go back to the city where the killing, murder, whatever took place. And then here it goes on with murder and manslaughter. It talks about, like, if it was intentional, then, this is the punishment. If it's not intentional, of course, you got the city of refuge. Now it does say when someone kills another, the evidence of witnesses required for the execution of the murder. The evidence of a single witness is not sufficient for putting a person to death. If only the United States actually followed the Bible like they say, like the Christian nationalists say they do. Okay, Okay, yep, here it is. The death of the high priest. When the death of the high priest happens, then the person in the city of refuge could go back to where he lived. Now, chapter 36 is our daily dose of sexism. The men came to, I guess, Moses. Oh yeah, it is, yep, Moses. And Eleazar, who was a priest, and says, you know what? The Lord commanded you, my Lord, to apportion the land lot among Israelites, and you, my Lord, were commanded to the Lord to give the heritage to our kinsmen of Well, anyways, it's the daughters. Remember how they said, okay, well, this person only had daughters, so we're going to lose our heritage. The lineage is going to lose the heritage because, the daughters can't inherit land. And so Moses made an exception, said, supposedly went to to God, and God said, well, if a person only has daughters, then the daughters can inherit the land. Remember, this is very misogynistic. Daughters were not allowed to inherit land. Now, God's saying they can only inherit land if there's no sons. And I think there has to be like no brothers, too. You know, there can't be any other male that can inherit this. Anyways, so now it's saying here in chapter 36, these daughters, these same daughters that were brought forth first, and Moses said, well, supposedly God said that, you know, the daughters can inherit the land, but then the male said, well, but if they get married, then the land's going to go to their husband, and then we lose out on our land. So then Moses, instead of saying, well, let's just, or, you know, instead of God or Moses saying, well, let's just forget this misogynistic crap. Let's just let women have inheritance like men do. He says, well, I know how to solve this. We'll continue inbreeding. We'll promote inbreeding in these situations. So the daughters, to keep the land in the heritage, the daughters can only marry in the tribe. You know, and back then the tribe was the race. Okay, we'd be all, according to the laws, they call them Mosaic laws, but they try to make it sound like these were laws made by Moses. No, Moses said these were, according to the Bible, Moses said these were made by God. So these are God's laws. Okay, so according to God, the laws that God put in this Bible, we'd all be, and these days, every single one of us, even the Amish, would be interracially dating or married, because we're not dating and marrying our own relatives. Okay, now so Moses said in these cases where there are no male offspring, to inherit, the daughters inherit the land, and then they have to marry to keep it in the, you know, to keep the heritage in on her side of the family. She has to marry within the tribe. In other words, she has to marry her relatives. Her relative. And women can only marry one time. Men can marry as many times as they want. The misogyny back here. Anyways. And here, that's another misogynistic thing. This was just a way to control women's sexual behavior, because men could marry outside the tribe, and that would be fine. But this is saying the women have to stay inside the tribe. And there has to be something political about this, because it's all political. All this nonsense is political with, you know, the misogyny and everything. It's keeping, it's like tribal pride. This is literally tribalism. So there has to be some benefit. I haven't really thought about it, because this is just, it's getting old by now. I'm tired of hearing about all the misogyny. So that's what chapter 36 is. Okay, and yes, at the conclusion, Numbers 36:13, these are the commandments and decisions which the Lord prescribed for the Israelites through Moses. So these are not laws of Moses. These are laws of God. Okay, so tribe of the fathers' clans. Oh, see, it doesn't say who they ended up married, but they said, they did say that they did marry within their own family, but it doesn't say who they married. Because you remember all before this, there was so much incest going on. So much incest. You know, the women were having to marry their, you know, uncle, their great uncle, you know, this old dude. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. Anyway, so here's a craft pattern by Neely Hall. General Motors. I don't know what year this is. This one's the telephone, what is it, a telephone shelf? Let me see, hold on here. Telephone hutch, that's what it is. When everybody had landlines. I don't see a date on here. But it was for General Motors. It's only 35 cents for an illustrated catalog of craft patterns, so it must have been quite a while ago when this was made. But anyways, this is going to be, maybe I'll put it on eBay. I think I'll put it on eBay. Completed telephone hutch. See, old rotary dial there. I think that would be a clock. And the fake ivy that always got so much dust on it. There's your pencils. There's your notepad to write your shopping list or leave messages. Nice little terracotta, what would you call that, a picture? And then your mail right there. Put it by your door and you put the mail in there when bills. When you get the mail from the mailbox. You sit down there and write out your bills.